Opa! Aí, ó, querida! Welcome, welcome everybody to our new Juju Live Session. I started playing around with Baladi music because this is what we do in the Baladi style. We play. We have fun. We are creative. Welcome to a new Juju Live Session, this time around about the theme of Baladi dance and the archetype of the Maalema, one of the most important archetypes, figures, characters in the Baladi style of dance, of music, but I would say in Egyptian culture as well. So in this live Q&A, I'm going to share some of the most frequent and, in my opinion, interesting questions around the themes of Baladi and the Maalema. A bit. Are you ready, guys? Let's jump into this Juju Live session on the Baladi and the archetype of the Maalema. I had 1,000 questions to share with you because this is one of the themes that is, in my opinion, the most underrated, misunderstood, but also important in the field of Egyptian dance and even in the field of Egyptian culture, because we cannot speak about Egyptian dance without speaking about Egyptian culture, in my opinion, okay? So for the ones who don't know me yet, before I dive into the questions, my name is Joana Saahirah. I'm a world-renowned Oriental dancer, teacher, choreographer, author, and I am also the creator of the pioneering Joana Saahirah's World and Joana Saahirah's Online Dance School, delivering authentic Egyptian dance, personal discovery, and empowerment. Pardon my terrible hair. I had to tie it very, very fast because I had no time. This is morning for me, but it's still a long day already because my day started so early. So I'm kind of disheveled and my hair is all over the place, as you can see, but I promise you, despite the apparent chaos, I'm gonna deliver you the best as usual, okay? Now, before I answer these questions as well, I want to tell you that my love story with the Baladi style started when I was a student in Egypt. Even before I moved to Egypt, even before I decided to become a professional Oriental dancer, to move to Cairo, sign my first contract, build my own orchestra, build my own brand, my own name, and then from Egypt, going around the world teaching and performing and lecturing and basically sharing everything that I had learned in almost a decade of career in Egypt. Before all this, I had already fallen in love with the Baladi style. And it had caught my eye as a student in Egypt because it is so unique, so authentic, so raw, so human. The first experience I had with the Baladi dance, Raqs el Baladi, happened in Luxor, of all places. It did not happen in Cairo. It happened in Upper Egypt, in Luxor. So I was traveling alone at the time to study. I had classes in Cairo. I had Saidi classes in Luxor. Not really Saidi, Tahtib, to be more exact. I was studying how to play the tabla, at least the basics. So I was a crazy freak that went deep into the craft of Egyptian music and dance with absolute obsession and absolute love. So my first contact with the Baladi dance happened, as I was saying, in Luxor. I took a very high risk. I took a cab to the center of a village in Luxor that I wouldn't know how to name nowadays. I don't know where the hell I was. I was just taken by a cab, a taxi driver, to a village of fellahin, of peasants, by the Nile. It was the village of his family, so I asked around where could I see authentic Baladi dance, and he told me at my home, and I said, okay, so take me. Big risk, crazy, don't do this at home, but I did it. And actually I did not regret, because not only was it safe, but it was one of the most incredible experiences of my life. So I went to the cab driver to his village in Upper Egypt, a place unknown. When I arrived, I was received like a queen. The entire family and neighbors came to watch me as if I was an alien, but in a very sweet way, very sweet. They cooked for me, they watched me eat in pleasure and clapping. They were so happy with my presence there. They put on a tape of Fifi Abdu, a tape. So many of you don't even know what this means, but VHS tape, yes. And at some point, I was dragged into a room with the women of the family, no man allowed. I think the oldest of the male members of the family must have been like 7 years old maximum. Beyond that, you were not allowed. This was a women's only gathering. I was dragged, and I had perhaps the most soulful and unforgettable experiences of my life, because those women from the village, from the family, closed themselves with me in a room to dance together. And this was my first contact with Raqs al-Baladi. This was my first contact with Falahin women, peasant women, doing Raqs al-Baladi, Oriental dance, their own way, with their own flavor, in an earthy, grounded, feminine, dance, magical, self-confident way. I had never seen anything like that, and I had never felt anything like that. Aside from experiencing the dance firsthand with the women, I experienced a kind of sorority, of sisterhood, of communication and unity between women through the Baladi dance that I had never experienced, and I must add, I never experienced again. So this was like a peak, and this was my introduction to Raqs al-Baladi. Having said that, and before I read my first questions, let me see if someone is here live. If you are, good morning. Hi Morag. Good morning, dear. Good morning. Welcome to this session. Welcome. Feel welcome to share your questions. You already know how it goes, okay? So, what is Baladi? I'm gonna read from my notebook, okay? What is Baladi? What does it mean? Okay, what is Baladi and what does it mean? I always like to start with the word, the meaning of the word, literal meaning of the word. And in Arabic and in Egyptian dialect, sometimes translation is not absolutely literal, but we try, okay? So Baladi comes from the word balad. Balad means homeland, country. So my balad, Baladi, Portugal. يعني I was born in Portugal. أنا من Portugal. Baladi, Portugal. My homeland, my roots, the place where I come from, my home in terms of the home of my identity, my family, my soul is Portugal, okay? So Balad means homeland, country, but Baladi, meaning my homeland, my country, my ground, my source, is applied to many things. So in Egypt you have Baladi bread, Baladi clothing, Baladi galabeya, Baladi people, Baladi manners, Baladi places, Baladi neighborhoods, Baladi coffee shops. When we speak about Baladi, we're not only speaking about dance or music. We are speaking about a very specific social class, a very specific background, a very specific cultural context that in Egypt has a very positive and a very negative connotation, okay? So here's something interesting that usually teachers of Egyptian dance don't like to talk about, either because it's unpleasant or because they don't know how to address it, and many teachers don't even know about it. But the question is, the Baladi word is a knife with two edges, okay? Which means there is a very beautiful side to it in Egypt. I'm still talking about the Baladi word according to Egyptian understanding of the word, okay? And there is another side of the term, of the world of Baladi, that is not very positive. So for instance, if someone is not polite, if they speak loud, like I do, if they say whatever pops into their mind, like I do, if they are very assertive and perhaps not very polished, they are called Baladi. Yani this person is a little Baladi. A poor neighborhood, a neighborhood where you don't have a lot of sophisticated, safe, beautiful, clean buildings, may be called a Baladi neighborhood. If we are talking about Baladi manners, Baladi clothing, Baladi food, we're talking about something that is then again highly valued because it's authentic, it is local, it belongs to Egypt, quintessentially Egyptian, but at the same time belongs to the lowest social background, right? So there is this colored vision and experience of Baladi. High society women in Egypt, for instance, would never want to be called Baladi. It's offensive. Okay? So you would never tell a high society rich woman, you're Baladi, anti-Baladi. That's almost offensive, and I would say offensive. Okay? In my opinion and in my experience of Baladi, then again, there is a fine line between local, traditional, grounded, earthy, raw, which is beautiful, all of it is beautiful, and all of it is Raqs al-Baladi, and that fine line that decides where are you gonna go, in which side are you gonna go. You're gonna go to this raw, beautiful, earthy side, or you're gonna go to the cheap, dirty, low, not very sophisticated, not very interesting side of the Baladi world. There is a fine line dividing what is Baladi beautiful from what is Baladi not so beautiful, okay? And the division between these two worlds, it's very much in the person, in the dancer. So as a dancer, when I dive into the Baladi style, may that be a Baladi song or a Baladi awadi, which are different things, by the way, I have to be very careful. On one side, I embrace the Baladi soul, because Baladi does not only belong to Egypt. Every country has a Baladi background, a Baladi culture, Baladi people, every country, all right? I will embrace this Baladi side in its most beautiful aspects, but I will be careful not to go into the other side. What do I mean by this? Let me give you an example, okay, or a few examples. For instance, if I'm dancing a Baladi piece, okay, and if I am going for a posture that it's usual, it is common in Baladi style. So let's say this posture, okay? I go like this, la ra 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 ra, ba ra ti ta ra 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 ti ta. This is nice, it is Baladi, it is cute, it is flirtatious, it is nice, it's beautiful. But if I do the same gesture with another intention, a little bit more aggressive, the gesture is the same, but the intention makes it nasty. Another example. Imagine that I am dancing a Baladi piece, and I go like this. Aywa, aywa keda, opa, howada. It's nice. It is very Baladi. When you go like this, aywa bit, yala so Baladi, but it's nice, it's cute, it's funny. If you do the same gesture with a different intention, this is rude. Okay? So this is what I mean by a fine line between the Baladi world, the beauty of the Baladi world, and the world that many dancers will not go to because they think it's not very respectful, very nice, very elegant. I believe that Baladi is absolutely beautiful. It really depends on the elegance and the dignity of the dancer. So in order to make sure my Baladi dance remains beautiful and soulful, and it honors the Baladi culture of Egypt and the Baladi cultures of all countries, I have to make sure that I am elegant from within. I have to make sure that I have good taste, that I respect myself, that I have dignity. If the internal mindset and the posture of the dancer is one of a queen, rest assured, Baladi will be amazing. If the dancer does not respect herself or himself, if the dancer does not have the elegance, the dignity, the posture of an artist, of a queen, of a woman who is proud of herself, if this is not there, personally speaking, Baladi can easily go down the drain. So I believe it depends so much on the person. You have to watch out for that. Now, I've already given you a little idea of what the Baladi word means. Now, what is Baladi dance, right? And in terms of Baladi dance, we have two major areas to focus on. One is the Baladi Awadi that I have explored in a few of our best-selling courses at Joana Saahirah's Online Dance School. We have 3 courses dedicated only to the Baladi Awadi. They are our best-selling courses, hands down. Our dancers, our students have loved them, recommended them, done them many times over. Some of our students repeat those courses because once you subscribe, you have eternal access to those courses. So they go back to the courses, they redo them, they love them so much. And then there is the Baladi songs, okay, which are not the Awadi, they are not Baladi progressions. They don't have the structure or the intention or the rules of the Baladi Awadi. They are Baladi songs. They are songs with the predominance of accordion, usually, not with so much orchestration. So you will not find usually a lot of other instruments, melodic instruments, like the kamanga, like the anun, not so common. So there is a predominance of accordion, a predominance perhaps of kamanga, yani the violin, and percussion, but you will not find so much of the most sophisticated and classical sounds, all right? Between the Baladi Awadi and the Baladi songs, we have common lines, okay? So when you learn a Baladi Awadi or when you learn a Baladi song, a technique or choreography for a Baladi song, you're learning very similar things, with the difference that a Baladi Awadi has a structure that the Baladi song does not have. Okay, that's the big difference. That's the biggest difference. Also, the Baladi Awadi traditionally will only include accordion and percussion. Tabla, or darbuka, dohola, dof, rik, perhaps tora, sargat, maybe, depending on the orchestra who is playing the music, okay? But in terms of melodic instruments, the Awadi only has the accordion, and a Baladi song may have other instruments. But then again, at the end of the day, they have very similar lines, okay? Very soon at our school, I'm starting a new course, Baladi Advanced course, Maa lema Special Edition. And in this course, for instance, we're not going to study the Baladi Awadi. We're going to study a typical Baladi song. Okay, so I'm going to teach my students to study and to learn the technique and the choreography and the posture and the feeling and so many more beautiful things around a Baladi song, not a Baladi Awadi. So I want to make this clear. Whenever you speak about Baladi music and Baladi dance, you're not only speaking about the Baladi Awadi or progression. By the way, for the ones who want to know more about the Baladi Awadi, once I wrap this session, I'm going to share links of other videos I have around the Baladi Awadi specifically, okay? So you're going to find them in the comments to this video, and for the ones who are going to watch this replay at my YouTube channel, you're also going to find it in the description box. So if you're interested about the Baladi Awadi, I have loads of free goodies that you're going to love, okay? Just check them after you wrap this session. What else? What is the Maalema? What is the Maalema? And why am I bringing the Maalema to this theme, okay? In Baladi, there are certain archetypes, there are certain figures, certain characters that we need to study. Not because we need to copy Egyptians. It drives me nuts when dancers say you have to be like an Egyptian. That is nuts. Egyptian dance does not invite you to be Egyptian. It invites you to be yourself. Okay? But if you study Egyptian dance, I believe that you should study Egyptian culture, which is a very different thing. So I am who I am. I performed 8 years in Egypt at the best venues of Cairo, not because I danced like an Egyptian, because I danced like myself, and I learned and integrated Egyptian skills, Egyptian features, Egyptian sensibility, Egyptian knowledge. It is a very different thing than copying Egyptians or wanting to be Egyptian. That is never the idea. So when we speak about Baladi, we speak about archetypes that dancers should study. In my school, in my courses, in my private coaching, I teach this to my students. So one of the archetypes is the Maalema. Okay? And this is perhaps one of the most misunderstood archetypes in the Baladi world. Because when we hear about Maalema, usually dancers think of a woman sitting on a chair smoking shisha in a coffee shop. That's it. That's what they think a Maalema is. And although that is true, there is like a caricature, okay, a figure, a photograph of a woman with a white galabeya, Baladi galabeya, okay, white galabeya, smoking shisha at the Ahwa Baladi, at the coffee shop, the Baladi coffee shop, for sure. I've been that woman, and I've danced that woman in my shows in Cairo and in other countries. But that's not the only definition of a Maalema. The Maalema is not only the boss of the coffee shop, the owner of the coffee shop, the leader. The Maalema is a character, is a set of features, of personal features that build this image of a strong leader, a strong, assertive, sensual, but also resourceful, sensual, but also sassy, smart woman. The Maalema is an archetype all of us can learn from. For dance, for Baladi dance, Baladi Awadi and Baladi songs for sure, but also for life, okay? Now, in my years of life in Egypt as a student, and then when I launched my career, I met many Maalema figures. I met a lot of women who represented this archetype, and I can assure you, they have taught me more about life and more about dance than anyone else, okay? So when we speak about the Maalema, yes, we speak about a character that is usually represented with a white galabeya, a shisha on her mouth, perhaps a cup of tea on the other hand, and leading the space, being the boss, being the owner of an establishment and putting the rules and putting everyone in order, for sure, but it is more than that. A Maalema is a figure of authority, of leadership. A Maalema is a woman who is not afraid to speak her mind and to be loud and to assert herself whenever necessary. While I was working in Egypt, for instance, my musicians called me Maalema very often. And they would call me Maalema not because I was the owner of a coffee shop. Okay, or not because I was wearing the white galabeya. No, they called me Maalema, half joking, half seriously, because they saw me leading, first of all, leading the group, leading our team. That was a Maalema position. I was leading an entire team of men. That is a Maalema position, okay? But also because they saw how I dealt with daily life, how I dealt with sexual harassment, how I dealt with tempting proposals of work in exchange for prostitution. They saw how I dealt with everything in my life because my musicians were like my family. They were the ones who spent the most time with me. So they saw me as a figure of authority, of leadership, of strength, of character, of dignity And for that reason, they often call me ya Maalema, Maalema yani, with admiration and with respect. So it is important for dancers to understand that archetypes like the Maalema are not an invitation for you to become Egyptian or to copy Egyptians, okay? They are an invitation for you to develop certain personal skills that are represented in this archetype, that are contained in this archetype. And those features are gonna serve your Baladi dance, but most importantly, they're gonna serve the quality of your life. Because when you grow as a person, your life grows, right? If I am more able to lead myself and my life improves. If I am more assertive, if I am stronger, if I'm not afraid to speak my mind, if I am the boss of my own existence, of my own decisions, of course this affects the way I live. Of course this changes my life. So it is nothing like copying Egyptians or pretending to be Maalema and playing it like an actress. No, this is the real thing. Okay, I learn what this archetype is asking me, and I ask myself, what parts of this archetype can I integrate for the sake of my dance, but most of all for the sake of my life. Okay, let me give a look at our comments. Let me give a look. Hi Muhammad, Sabah al-Noor. Sabah al-Khair, how are you? How are you, Muhammad? ازيك? What else? We have Nuraya. Good morning, Nuraya. Good morning. We have Lotte. Oh, Lotte says, so happy to be here. I'm happy that you're here too. Hi, Magid. Hi, Magid. Magid is saying, very interesting story about Upper Egypt. Yes, absolutely. You know, Magid, I never forgot that trip and I never forgot that event. Even today when I think about it, my heart breaks in the best possible way because it is really a precious thing. Dancing with those falahin in that room, with children also, women of all ages, you have to understand, these are the women of the family and the women of neighborhood, okay? So everybody came and watched me dance and danced with me, and the older women wrapped the scarf around my hips and they taught me how to move. This is gold. This is gold. You know, it's really gold. And this is how I fell in love with Egyptian dance, not only with Baladi, with Egyptian dance. I have to be very honest. That's when I understood, oh, okay, I see what this is about. Okay, I want that. I want to be part of this. Okay, because it is so magical, so beautiful, so soulful, so human. And that's exactly where the magic started, okay? Guys, bring your questions, keep them coming. If you have your own definition of Baladi and the Maalema, let me know in the comments. I read, I answer if I can, if I know how to answer, and it's always good to receive your feedback, okay? I love to exchange. I'm a Gemini, guys. I'm a Gemini. I'm a double Gemini. I have Sun and Venus in Gemini. What the hell? I like to exchange information. I like to dialogue and learn from people. So keep it coming, okay? All right, so next question. Do I have to be Egyptian in order to be a Maalema? I think I've already answered this one. No, you don't have to be Egyptian. It is so important to honor the culture behind the dance, but that doesn't mean I'm going to copy Egyptians, or I'm going to copy Chinese, or I'm going to copy Portuguese, or I'm going to copy, you know. Imagine someone who is learning flamenco, okay? Flamenco, Spanish dance, flamenco. Or someone who is learning Portuguese fado, okay? Portuguese fado is a kind of music, it is not a dance, but it is something that is very much in our culture. It is traditional from Portugal, fado. Imagine someone who is learning Argentinian tango. The invitation is never for those folks to become Argentinian, Portuguese, or Spanish. When someone learns about fado, Portuguese fado, they learn about the culture. They drink from Portuguese culture. but they don't belong to Portugal in the terms of they were not born in Portugal and they're not Portuguese. And why should they be? You know, the same thing for Argentinian tango. I have studied Argentinian tango. Did I work to become Argentinian? No, why would I? I don't want to become Argentinian. I'm fine with who I am. But I have learned about Argentinian music, Argentinian sensibility, Argentinian movement, Argentinian culture. And I learn, I integrate some of those cultural features in me. The same thing for flamenco. I have studied flamenco as a little girl. Actually, I grew up most of my childhood between Portugal and Spain. Did I become Spanish? No, I am not Spanish. I am Portuguese. But I learned and I integrated, I assimilated, I saved parts of Spanish culture. All of these cultures are a part of me now. If you see me from within, I am multicolored. You know, I am made of many cultures. I am made of the Maa lema. I am made of the Bint al-Balad. I am made of so many cultures that I have studied and learned from. But I am myself. So it is never, let me repeat this, never a question of having to be Egyptian in order to be a Maalema, okay? No, you have to develop the qualities of a Maalema to be Maalema in your dance and in your life, okay? Are you okay then? You understand me, guys? I hope you understand me, okay? Is Baladi danced barefoot? Okay, I really love this question. Is Baladi danced barefoot? I believe that Baladi, may that be the Baladi Awadi or the Baladi song, a Baladi song, should be danced barefoot. I believe so. Yes. Yes. Does it mean you cannot dance it with shoes, dance shoes or heels or whatever? No. You can dance it with shoes. I have danced it with shoes. I have made Baladi Awadi with slippers, with shoes, with high heel slippers. I have made it, but it is not ideal. I think that Baladi needs the contact with the ground. You need to feel the plant of your feet touching the ground. Baladi style, amongst many other things, is very grounded. Is a style that makes us remember where our roots are, our genetic roots, our cultural roots, but also our energetic roots. Our roots are in the earth. So in order to connect to my roots, energetically speaking, I feel my feet touching the earth, touching the floor, like a tree. I have my roots well deep into the ground. So although you can dance Baladi with shoes, I would advise you to go for it barefoot, because I think you're going to have a very different experience. And it's the experience of the Baladi, okay? Baladi is grounding. Baladi is deep. It is feminine. It is visceral. It is womb-like. It comes from the womb. It goes back to the womb. It's very feminine. It is very earthy, very from the ground. So the high heels and the shoes are a separation between you and the ground, see? We need to take that separation out of the way. So ideally speaking, I do believe Baladi, a Wedi or a Baladi song should be danced barefoot. Yes, I believe so. Is Baladi a women's circle dance? Okay. Is Baladi a women's circle dance? I also love this question. I've been asked this many times, and I always find it so beautiful and so fascinating, because I have been in many women's circle dances. In Egypt, with Egyptian women, with friends in Egypt, but also in my work, in workshops, in courses. Whenever I have big groups, I usually do parts of the workshops in a circle, okay? And there is a magic to a circle. In a second, I'm going to tell you what that is. Let me check once more what's here. Morag is saying earth grounding with barefoot to raise your frequency. Yes, yes, and to connect yourself with the frequency of the earth, because sometimes we're so focused on going up, right? As dancers, as Oriental dancers specifically, we're so focused on going up, on elevating, but Oriental dance is a perfect line between earth and sky. I need to be very able to go up, but also to go down. So the more connected I am to the earth, the more connected I am to the sky. The more grounded I am, the more in contact with the earth I am, the more in contact with the sky, with the soul, with the spirit, with God, whatever you want to call it, I am. So there is a connection between earth and sky, like the Sufis who point out with one hand to the earth and another hand to the sky. It is not a coincidence. They are reminding us that the human body in this earth, in this incarnation, is a bridge between the sky and the earth. And so is the body of an Oriental dancer. So we dance barefoot in order to connect to the earth. And once you are more connected to the earth, literally, because your feet are in contact with the earth, you're more connected to your soul. I hope I have made that clear. Morak says, I'm enjoying thinking about the Maa lema and those qualities. I'm feeling this archetype so helpful at my stage of life as a role model for my 59% of what I can influence in my life. Like you say, yes, yes, absolutely. By the way, Morag, it's not 59%, it's 50%. It's 50%. 50% is in my hands, 50% is not in my hands, okay? As I usually tell my students. So the Maa lema is a highly empowering archetype, guys, but it is one that then again is universal. It is not Egyptian, okay? It comes from Egypt. Egyptians have given it a name, but you will find the Maa lema everywhere. I know a lot of women in my country, Baladi, in Portugal, who are a Maa lema. Many of them, okay? So it is a set of qualities. It is not a specifically Egyptian character that you have to emulate or imitate or mimic, okay? We want it to be authentic, so it has to come from within. You have to become those qualities in a way. So is Baladi a women's circle dance? It can be. It can be. It also depends. If we're talking about the Baladi Awadi, for instance, we're talking about a dancer, a solo dancer, dancing with musicians, improvising with musicians. So in a Baladi Awadi, you're either going to have a circle of women, traditionally a circle of women with a woman in the middle doing the Awadi, the progression, or you're going to have a solo performer, a solo dancer. In the case of Baladi songs, in the case of improvisations of accordion, in Egypt, we often have women dancing together and men dancing together. I know that when we think about Baladi, we think about women, right? But I have seen men in Egypt dancing Baladi as well, if not better than women. So let me tell you this. It is easy to put things and people into labels and shelves, right? This is for women, this is not for men. It is easy, but I think life is more complicated and more interesting than that. So when we speak about Egyptian dance and when we speak about Baladi, we're not only speaking about women, we're speaking about men and women, okay? And then again in Egypt, although professionally men are not invited to be Oriental dancers, that's not... it doesn't give them status. It is not something good, okay? It's usually associated with homosexuality and things that in Egypt are socially reproachable. So a male Oriental dancer in Egypt is a taboo, is still a problematic figure. The reality is that I have known so many men who dance beautifully, and that includes Baladi style, beautifully. And it has nothing to do with sexual orientation, okay? It really doesn't. I have seen all sorts of men with all sorts of orientations who dance beautifully, in some cases better than women, okay? So, is Baladi a women's circle dance? Should the question be, is Baladi a human circle dance, right? And my answer is it can be or not. It depends on the circumstance. It depends where you're dancing it. If you're dancing it in a professional stage, if you're dancing it on a wedding, if you're dancing it at home. I can tell you that, for instance, the episode I told you about in Upper Egypt, in Luxor, in that village of Luxor, in that episode, I was dancing in the middle of a circle. Yes. So the women and the little children, they created a circle around me and they put me in the middle dancing for them, and they would come dance with me, okay, in the middle of the circle. So there is this symbology and this tradition of the circle. There is, for sure. But that is not the only way or the only configuration for the practice of Baladi dance, okay? What else? Is Baladi part of Egyptian folklore? No, it's not, okay? And sometimes I hear teachers speaking about Baladi as if it was part of Egyptian folklore. It's not. Baladi or Raqs al-Baladi is the original Raqs al-Sharqi. It's the unpolished, unmodernized, unsophisticated, unchanged Raqs al-Sharqi, Oriental dance that people call erroneously belly dance. So it is Oriental dance, it is not folkloric dance, okay? Although it can feel folkloric, because then again, it is so earthy, it is so grounded, it is round, it is rustic in a way, but very sophisticated in many other ways, all right? So it is not a part of Egyptian folklore, it is the original Raqs al-Sharqi, okay? So in Egypt we say Raqs al-Baladi. What else? What are the rules for Baladi dance? Okay, this is a tricky one because there are no written rules. Let's put it this way. There are no established written rules for Baladi dance, but there are unwritten rules. And in this aspect, I believe that foreign dancers, have benefited the dance greatly, because in Egypt, generation after generation, people just dance. They don't think about dance, they don't write about dance, they don't structure the dance, they don't analyze the dance, they don't reflect upon the dance, they just do it. Okay, it was the foreigners who came from the outside, wanted to understand, wanted to know, what is this, how do we do this, why do they do this, why would I do this? And thinking about it from afar, we started to notice certain rules and certain formats and certain structures that were never put on paper, that were never made a standard, they were never made rules, but they exist. They are unspoken, but they exist. So for instance, if I am doing a Baladi song or a Baladi awadi, and if I'm using classical arms, very open, very, very classical, okay? I'm not going to tell you what are classical arms right now, because that's not the subject of this session, but if I am into a Baladi mode, or mood, or song, or piece, and I use my arms in a classical way, something is off. I am not into this style. Something is not correct. This is not written, okay? This is a rule, and again, unwritten, but it is a rule. So if you're learning with an Egyptian teacher, with an Egyptian dancer, they would probably do this to your arms. Say, don't move your arms so much. You know, bring your arms a little bit more next to your body, to your face, to your hips, to your womb. There is this way of using arms and hands that is so much more in your space. That's a rule. Another rule, because the Baladi is so visceral, it should come from the womb. This is true for the Baladi awadi, for a Baladi song. Of course, dancers will resort to movements they have been taught, but the real Baladi magic is when you bring the movement from within. You don't even know where is this coming from. It comes from your womb, from the depth of your creative well. If you're not able to extract the juice from the womb, those movements, something is missing. Is this written? No, it is not written, but it is taught. And it is expected of the dancer, okay? Another thing, if you are not able to play with the music, to suggest, to flirt with the music, to be playful with your movement, if you don't have a certain way, almost like a jazz musician way of dealing with the music, something is missing, because the Baladi style requires that. Is this written? No, it's not written. Okay, but it is a rule, and you will be expected to do that. So just because it is not written, it doesn't mean it's not a rule. Okay, many dancers are taught orally and through example from generation to generation. They have rules. They're just not written on paper, but it doesn't mean those rules don't exist. They do exist. They're just not written on paper. So sometimes I hear dancers telling me, Joana, but Baladi is improvised. Nobody cares. There are no rules. Oh yes, there are rules. They're just not written. And frequently dancers don't know how to pinpoint. They don't know how to tell you, this is rule number 1, rule number 2, rule number 3. They have not studied the dance enough to be able to extract the pillars of the dance. But that's because they haven't been able to extract those pillars. It's not because the pillars don't exist. They do exist. Okay, this is why we study. Otherwise, you would put a Baladi music on and you would do whatever comes to your mind and you would call it a Baladi. So yes, there is an improvisation side, very, very heavy improvisation side to the Baladi style. Baladi Awadi, for sure, 100% improvised, and Baladi songs also. But it doesn't mean that rules don't apply. They do apply. There is a style, there are typical movements, typical postures, typical ways of moving, typical feeling, typical ways of using the music. There are, okay? Now, are you supposed to break the rules? I think you are. The question is, you can only break the rules after you know the rules. And this is where so many of us go wrong. I have gone wrong here. I remember when I started and I was so ignorant, but I was so confident and so in love with it. I thought, what the hell? I'm just gonna do what I feel. And I made so many mistakes, right? I mean, made so many mistakes. As I usually tell my students, we can break the rules after we know the rules. You cannot break a rule that you ignore. How can you break a rule that you don't even know? Doesn't make any sense, does it? So think about Baladi style, the Baladi Awadi or the Baladi songs as opportunities for you to improvise, for sure, for you to be creative, for sure, for you to be free, for sure, but also opportunities for you to know Baladi codes, Baladi skills, Baladi sensibility, Baladi aesthetics, Baladi feeling, and Baladi soul. This will not make you more Egyptian, it will make you more of who you are. You will come back to who you are through the wisdom of Baladi wisdom. That's it. Through the wisdom of the Maalema archetype, through the wisdom of the Bint al-Balad, the Ibn al-Balad, through the wisdom of all these codes, all these archetypes that shape a country, they shape an identity, in this case Egyptian, but they also shape our human psyche, our human behavior. So the moment I incorporate, for instance, the Maalema archetype in me, I become stronger. I become more blunt, more assertive. I become the leader of my own life. I take up space. I am not ashamed of who I am. I'm not ashamed of my voice, of my opinions, of my perspective, of my heart. I'm not ashamed of my body. I own my body. This is a Maalema. This is not Egyptian. This is universal. The thing is, Egypt and its culture, they're so rich. They're so rich. They're so ancient and so rich. And there's so much to learn from them, right? So what we do is we look at Egyptian culture and dance and music, and we may ask, What can I learn from you? What can I learn from this? And I'm not only speaking about the way we move, the way we dance, I'm speaking about life in general, right? Because when I become a better Oriental dancer, may that be in the Baladi style or in any other style, I become a better person. I believe in that with all my heart. And you know, if you're my student or if you've been my student, you know exactly what I mean. Okay? I develop myself as a dancer, I develop myself as a person. That's it. Okay? Let me see once more what you're saying, guys, because I love it. Morag is asking, did the dance evolve into the cafe style of Baladi with the introduction of the Western instruments in the early 20th century in Muhammad Ali Street? Oh, that is a beautiful, beautiful question. Hi, Mango. Hi. Hello. How are you? Okay, let me read Morag's question again. Did the dance evolve into the cafe style of Baladi with the introduction of Western instruments in the early 20th century in Muhammad Ali Street? Okay, so there are different references here in Morag's question. Let me see if I organize the house. Okay, so for the ones who don't know, Muhammad Ali Street is a street that still exists in Cairo. It's a very famous street. It used to be the street of the artists, okay? What do I mean, the street of the artists? It used to be a street with a lot of musical instrument shops. They're still there, many of them. Agencies where people would come to hire musicians and dancers and other sorts of entertainers, magicians and, you know, malabarists and all that sort of entertainment. And also a street where musicians would famously gather in coffee shops, Baladi coffee shops, not only to play together and have their shisha and have their tea, but to wait for work gigs. Actually, this tradition of musicians sitting and waiting the entire night on coffee shops, waiting for gigs, for more work, still exists. My musicians, for instance, once they finished their shows with me, they would go out to Shar el Haram, the Pyramid Street, the famous street that leads to the Giza pyramids, the famous Giza pyramids, and they would spend the entire night in the coffee shops waiting for other gigs to come. Okay, so that tradition of sitting in coffee shops in the street, Baladi coffee shops, still exists, mainly for musicians. Okay, now I do not think there is a direct connection between the introduction of Western instruments and Muhammad Ali Street and the Baladi coffee shops. I do think there is a kind of life, a kind of spirit to these coffee shops. So if I went into it, guys, it would be a totally new Juju Live session only about the Ahwa Baladi, the Baladi coffee shops, because they are worlds in itself, right? So although the reference to the Baladi coffee shop is very strong in Baladi style, I have used that reference many times and I love it because I know it, right? I am a Maa lema who has gone and sat down in Baladi coffee shops smoking shisha. I am that person. So obviously when I create a tableau for a show or for a course, it's natural to me to dance on a table or to dance while I'm smoking shisha. It is natural, okay? It is totally natural. It doesn't mean that the coffee shop and the street of Muhammad Ali specifically have shaped Baladi dance. I don't think so. They're just environments, they're just contexts where the Baladi life is visible. It is quite obvious. It is natural, okay? By the way, guys, Muhammad Ali nowadays, as I said, it still exists. It's still a very famous street for dancers, but nowadays you don't find the places to hire artists anymore. You just find a few coffee shops, you find a few stores with instruments, oud and tabla and other percussive instruments and melodic instruments. You will find musicians gathering in the street and at homes. I spent unforgettable evenings with musicians in Muhammad Ali Street. just listening, just listening, just listening to them. But it doesn't have the glory and the magic of the past, okay? And then again, I don't think that Baladi belongs only to the Ahwa Baladi, the Baladi coffee shop, or only to Muhammad Ali, although Muhammad Ali Street is a Baladi street. It is in a Baladi neighborhood. It is very close to Ataba. Ataba is a very busy, very Baladi area of downtown Cairo. Okay, so Muhammad Ali Street is located in a visibly Baladi area of Cairo, sure. The Baladi Ahwa is associated with the Baladi dance for sure, because then again, it is a Baladi place where Baladi folks like me go, okay? But Baladi goes beyond all this. You can dance Baladi in the fields, open fields. You can dance Baladi in the water, in the sea. You can dance Baladi at home, with your friends, with your mom, with your aunt, with your grandmother. You can dance Baladi for yourself, for someone you love. There is not a specific place for Baladi, although certain images, certain places are directly linked in our imaginary to the Baladi world and the Baladi dance. Example given, the Baladi coffee shop, and for sure, Muhammad Ali Street, Shere Muhammad Ali, okay? So this is actually a beautiful question, Morag. Thank you for sharing it with us. It's so interesting. And for the ones who want to know more about Baladi, then again, I am going to invite you to check the resources I'm going to share with you. Once we wrap this session, I have a lot of free material on Baladi style, and I will invite you to check it, okay? So I will either share it in the comments to the replay of this Juju Live session, or in the description box below this video if you're gonna watch this replay in my YouTube channel, okay? Mango says, Joanna, please consider organizing a trip to Egypt where we could do theory and dance workshops, tours. You are the perfect person for a trip like this. Yes, I know, Mango. So many people have asked me for it. I know Egypt better than I know my own country, no exaggeration. So my own country is Portugal, as you already know. I know Egypt better than I know my own country. And as you already know also, it is the country of my heart. It is the country of my soul. And I would love to do that. Who knows in the future, you know, it's so many plans and so many goals, but I would love to do that for sure, for sure. Okay, guys, so I'm gonna invite you once more to check the bonus resources I'm gonna share with you in the comments to this video. I'm gonna share the 3 lessons the Maalema wants you to know about. Oh yes, 3 lessons she's gonna whisper in your ear. Mwah. Yes, I'm gonna share it in the comments to this video and also in the description box below the video. And look at my gestures. These are all very Baladi, because when I get started, I start going back to Ataba, baby. Aywa keda. Yes, guys, sorry, I cannot control my Baladi personality. I am Baladi. I cannot hide it, even if I wanted to. So, and proudly Baladi, by the way, huh? Proudly Baladi. I'm also inviting you to check our new course, Baladi Advanced Course, Maalema Special Edition. Aywa keda. It's gonna be fabulous. The only thing you need is a practice of at least 3 years of Egyptian dance, okay? You don't need to have done our previous Baladi courses. You don't need any experience in Baladi style, but you do need to have at least 3 years of Egyptian dance practice, okay? If you do, you can subscribe, and I will highly advise you to do it, because it's going to be awesome, very intensive, transformative. Then again, another way of kicking your beautiful ass. When I say kicking your ass, is really allowing you to grow, really stimulating you from within, okay? To become a more interesting dancer, more interesting person. It is exciting. I know you can feel it. So then again, I'm gonna share the link for you to subscribe. Where? You already know where. Either in the comments to this video or in the description box below it. That's it for now. You already know that we have a newsletter. It is also free. If you don't want to subscribe to the course or to the workshop, or if you even don't want to take advantage of the free goodies on Baladi that I'm about to share with you in the description box below this video and in the description, not the description, in the comments to this video, all you gotta do in order to be in contact with our world, Egyptian dance, personal discovery, and empowerment is to subscribe to our free and fabulous newsletter. I'm also sharing the link for you to do so either in the comments to this video or in the description box below it. This is all for now. Thank you for attending live, guys. Thank you for your questions. Although I bring questions to answer and I select them, it is beautiful to have your presence with me, and it's beautiful to have your unexpected questions. I love that. Hi Mango, I love you too, my darling. Thank you for attending. Thank you for attending, Mango and Morag and Muhammad, everybody who shows up, even if just for saying hi. It is beautiful to have you here. Thank you once more for your questions, for your participation. I will see you very soon. Until then, all my love and my Baladi kiss. How is a Baladi kiss? Aywa, that's it. I will see you soon, guys. Take care.